そっか、僕ポケモンになってたんだ。
This year, the popular Pokemon franchise will be 20 years old. Due to its popularity, we've seen a lot of rip-offs over the last 2 decades. Series featuring characters who catch, collect, and battle it out with each other using monsters were suddenly everywhere. We've done our best to catch 10 of the most shameless Pokemon rip-offs out there.
Look at all these little Mortys that you get to run around and collect. Mustache Morty, cat Morty, one eyeball Morty.
やあみんな、俺は青いバルト。ベイブレードが大好きなベイブレーダーさ。
Instead of playing with monsters or robots, you fight your enemies using spinning tops in Beyblade. Takara developed the toys for this franchise, and the animation series often felt like one big commercial. There were even a couple of Beyblade video games. Unfortunately, watching spinning tops battle it out is less spectacular than seeing Pokemon fight.
Crash! Unbelievable! The opponent's spinning power! Big crash! Augmented!
Use your PSP camera to hunt monsters lurking in the real world.
Invizimals for the PSP was Sony's answer to Pokémon. The game made use of the camera peripheral, which let the player hunt for creatures in augmented reality. The colors of your surroundings and the time of day determined which Invizimals you would encounter. Sony added augmented reality to the genre way before the upcoming smartphone game Pokémon Go. During the PlayStation era, Tecmo developed Monster Rancher. You could find new monsters by letting your PlayStation scan audio CDs. Digging through your CD collection to get a unique monster is something we'd never imagined doing. The series was quite successful, spawning over 10 games, but we lost interest after the original game. Disney wanted its own Pokemon-like franchise and developed Spectrobes. In the game, you need to dig up Spectrobes and fight enemies to make them stronger and eventually evolve. The game was a modest success and spawned 2 sequels on the Nintendo DS and Wii. After these 3 games, nobody heard of the franchise ever again. You either love it or hate it, but Digimon was probably the best Pokemon ripoff back in 1997. It had a popular animation series, trading cards, and a couple of video games. Digimon was probably Pokemon's most popular competitor during the late 90s, but that doesn't make it any less of a ripoff. Some rip-offs are more shameless than others, like Hudson Soft's Robopon for example. The game came out in multiple versions and you needed them both if you wanted to collect all the robotic monsters. The goal of the game was to defeat 7 legendary players and become the best Robopon collector of the island. Sounds familiar, right?
Bakugan, roar!
Bakugan was a bit of a flop in Japan, but did a pretty good job in the West. Many gamers see this one as a rip-off of both Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's quite understandable seeing the monsters spawn out of the cards used in the show. Yep, there is hardly anything original about this series, but little kids probably don't give a damn. The Dragon Quest franchise isn't a Pokemon ripoff, but the Monsters spin-off series absolutely is. Dragon Warrior Monsters spawned a few pretty good games and is quite popular in the East and West. That doesn't hide the fact that Square Enix copied a lot of Nintendo's popular franchise. According to Pokemon fans, this is one of the biggest ripoffs out there, and we tend to agree. Pocket Mortys is a completely self-aware Pokemon ripoff. In the game, based on the Rick and Morty animated television show, you play as Rick and have to collect different variations of Mortys. The game is quirky, but unfortunately gets boring after the first hour or so. We think this one will only be appreciated by fans of the show.
Come on. What are you doing? It's free. It's a free game. It's not pay to win either.
Metabots! Roll battle!
Instead of monsters, you train and nurture your own robots in Metabots. The franchise debuted in 1997 with an RPG game on the Game Boy Color. A few years later, a couple of sequels and even an animation series appeared. The series was pretty popular in the West and is still kind of a thing in Japan. The shameless rip-off factor is extremely high with this one.
All right! Huh? It's a